What's up everyone, Kaiju no Kami here, and I wanted to talk about some cool things I picked up at Fan Expo Denver this past weekend. First, I actually didn't grab them to show off because they're kind of packed up, but I got some really cool Goosebump merchandise, prints, because I got to meet the artist for the Goosebump books, Tim Jacobus. He was awesome. He was so great to chat with, and he was the opposite of Neil Adams. Neil Adams was one of my favorite comic artists. When I met Neil Adams, he tried to upsell me everything, and he was kind of a douchebag too. With Tim Jacobus, this dude was just plain out nice and sweet and kind. I did an interview with him. He let me record the Q&A panel he did. That dude was awesome. I actually at some point want to get some sort of artwork commissioned for the channel from him. That I think would be really, really awesome. We talked about that. And so I got that. That was cool. That was like my highlight of the weekend. That alone made the weekend worth it. However, as you guys knew, little piggybacking off of Godzilla Planet of the Monsters, I am obviously a figure collector. What? No, is what you're all saying. Usually I prefer 6-inch figures. That's how I am. That's why I got into the Monster Arts line. Unfortunately, the Monster Arts line has not been what I had hoped out of it. Whether it's poor quality control, derpy eyes on a lot of figures, or just a lack of focus on the Showa era. It was cool at the start because it was brand new, because I'm like, oh my god, I've never had Godzilla figures that are like this. I've never had a Godzilla that could do the Kamehameha. However, after that novelty kind of wore off, I started to go, well, I want my favorite incarnations of monsters over a cool monster that can do the Kamehameha. And Monster Arts just wasn't doing enough in the Showa era. And I was like, well, that kind of sucks. They're mostly focusing on Heisei. There's a little Millennium, and then the one Showa Godzilla they did, they completely botched for Godzilla 64. But then they blame poor sales on that figure for being, oh, no one wants Showa, nobody wants a crappy Godzilla figure. So then I started to think, well, maybe I should go in the X Plus route. Well, can't do that because X Plus vinyl, I don't even know if they're vinyls, but the X Plus stuff is uber expensive. So I ended up having to go back to vinyls. I'm glad I got the NECA fully posable Godzillas that they've done for 54, 62, 64, 89, and 84, and GMK. But, well, GMK obviously and 89 are not, whatever. But I wanted to show a collection because I've come to realize out of all the Godzilla movies, the more we watch them, I like the Showa era the best. I don't know if it's exactly my favorite era yet. I still think I might like Millennium as my favorite, but I feel like the Showa era is the best. It was the best experimentation period. They were putting plots. The plots were just as important as the monsters. It didn't always work, but the plots were just as important as the monsters. And Tsuburaya was a technical genius. So I wanted to get a Showa collection, and no one seems to be doing it in the 6-inch scale. Last year I saw these figures that Mezco was doing called the 5 points line, and it was these two 4-packs for Destroy All Monsters, and I was like, that's kind of cool, especially because I've been wanting a Showa Ghidorah. Heisei is cool, but there's something about the Showa version that I just prefer. And I wanted to show a Ghidorah. This 5 points line shows off a Showa Ghidorah, and I'm like, well, it's not going to fit in with my 6-inch NECA figures. Because these are 4-inch figures, 4-inch scale. I watched, and then I kind of forgot about them. And then recently, Super 7 showed off these tiny, well, you guys are probably like, get on with it. These tiny, like 4-inch, the reaction figures, and they look like crap. And Playmates, they're doing vinyls. That's cool. I've got some Showa vinyls, which is kind of awesome. I mean, especially since they don't look as bad as the first wave they were doing, which were awful looking. Like Godzilla, or Space Godzilla, looks like he melted halfway to the store. But this is cool. All right, I really love fully posable figures, but I can deal. I mean, this has 5 points of articulation. He's got 6. He's got 1. So I could go with that. 5 points. Showa figures, cool. Looked at some reviews online, saw some quality control issues. I'm like, I don't know. And then I walked by some tables at Fan Expo Denver that happened to have both of them. And the first seller I saw wanted $98 for them. And I'm like, well, they retail at $85. Big Bad has them for $80. With shipping, I don't know. So, shipping and tax. I was like, meh. Go to another seller. He wants $90 for them. I'm down for that, but I don't know. Should I really spend the money? And then I was thinking about it when Krillica and I were going around and taking more pictures. And I'm like, well, I did just get that full-time teaching job, and yeah, I celebrated by ordering some of the Hiss tanks from HasLab, but I really would like something now to enjoy, that I can enjoy now and not a year from now. So I'm like, well, I think I'm gonna get them. Krillica wanted to take a break and go, or she wanted to go to a panel, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go find that seller that was selling these 2 sets for $90 each. So I go back into the room and I find another seller who's like $100 each or $175 for both. It's only $5, but you know what? The seller was right there. So it was, and I looked. He was right at the front of the exhibition hall. I walked around for a few minutes, came back to his table, and like, yeah, I'm gonna take them both. So I have both Mezco sets. Here's the box for the first one. Pretty cool looking. Very compact. This side's open because I can't get this to go back in there for some reason. But that's okay, since I've actually kept the figure stands in there right now, because since we're playing the move, I'm going to just pack them back in here while we move so that nothing gets broken. And then I got the figures themselves, which are pretty damn awesome. Okay, first, let's go with Mina. And the one thing I like about these is they might have 5 points of articulation, so they're limited, but some of them come with interchangeable parts, so you can actually get other poses out of them. So we have Mina, who comes with, I'll show the other parts in a moment, but we have a head with a smoke accessory. Now note, this is not a review, because the last time I tried to review a toy, it was boring as hell. Which was funny enough, Monster Arts 2002 Godzilla. So I'm gonna try to be cool showing these off, but if you're bored and you're like, I'm just gonna click, so be it. I just want to show these off because I found them to be really cool. So here's Mina. Now this does come off. However, he has a big hole in his mouth. I don't know if you can see that. Probably not. So he kind of looks like a snake that way. But if you take his alternate head, whoops, it's much cooler. I don't know how well this is showing up because I'm not used to doing this. Hopefully, And then he has interchangeable hands. So you can have them all like, "Ah, run for the hills!" Or he's getting ready to breathe his smoke attack. Quite happy. Or again, you can even change it out and have him like that. So that's kind of cool. And then here's the back side in case you're wondering. Hopefully they're focusing on camera. Let me switch them back out to what I had them in the case as. So Mina, he's very tiny. Alright, let's go with Paragon. Now the cool, interestingly enough, I only had 2 paint issues. One's on Paragon and one's on Giraffe. Paragon has on this had 2 paint splotches. I don't know if it's coming through, if you can see it. Probably not, because it doesn't look like it actually wants to focus. Fine. But we've got Paragon here. The detail is really good. And then for him, head comes off. Legs come off. Oh no! I have no head. I have no head. Little Transformers joke there. And then you can have Paragon upright. Just quite cool. Oh, where's the... I forgot to grab the Rubble Tech. So here's the Rubble Tech Paragon. As you can see, they're actually almost the same size. The Rubble Tech's just a little bit bigger. I will say I do not like Rubble Techs. I think they look crap. They look like crap. I love the posability on them, but I don't like their joints. I don't like the way things are done. And I think Paragon is the worst of the 3 Rubble Techs I have. I am trying to remember if he ever actually stood up in Destroy All Monsters like this. I know he did for the fight scene in Frankenstein versus Paragon, but I don't know if he did it for wow, the one I was just talking about. Destroy All Monsters. Ah. But yeah, Paragon's really nice looking. Let's see, do I have him right? Yes. So let's put him back. Then we have Gorosaurus, who really looks incredible. I'm not a Gorosaurus fan. I don't love him, but I bought the Playmates vinyl mostly just to have some more Showa representation on my shelf, which now comparing him, I mean, at the time when I bought him, I wasn't planning to get these. Now I'm like, man, why did I spend the money on Gorosaurus? Like, he doesn't really seem to have a neck. Here, little comparison there. Alright, put him down there. But yeah, now Gorosaurus did not come with any accessories. He just moves the legs, the arms, and the head. But the paintwork and sculpting on him is absolutely incredible. I was really impressed with how excellent he looks. Especially compared to that one. I usually think you would think that the 6-inch size would get more details out of it, but I feel like that the Playmates final has less detail. Alright, let's go with Mothra. And there's something cool also with Mothra. Oh, I gotta grab this. So, here's Mothra with a spray of webbing, silk, whatever you want to call it. I love the detailing on that. I don't know if it shows up on the camera, but the detailing of the silk is really cool. However, it looks kind of awkward because it doesn't really look like silk. Now, I will say, if you buy this set, this has to be actually angled to put in the Mothra's mouth. Like, I actually thought you had to angle it like this or like straight, but no, you have to kind of angle it crooked downward for it to slide in properly. It was kind of weird. Now, here is the Monster Arts Mothra larvae form. Blue eyes versus red eyes. Because he has clear eyes, he does not. Now, I will say I do miss being able to like, because that is pretty cool. But for what it is awesome. He's also got these weird, interesting, like, markings on his sides. That which I was shocked at, because this one does not. I've never noticed that before. I've got to take a look now at the movies to see if that's actually in the movies. But anyway, the other cool thing is, so the Monster Arts silk can actually fit in his mouth if you really don't like this one and would rather have him displayed with this one. That's kind of cool. Now, given I know this one's kind of false advertising because he's not 5 points of articulation, he is, or she, I should say. Did I say he a few times? I think so. But she only has 1 point of articulation. Still cool. Oh, and you can have like maracas or something. Alright, let's go with Rodin here. One thing I love is Rodin comes with a stand, so you can have him in a flying pose or a regular pose. Where did that head go? Right there. Let's move those down there. But here is Rodin's flying head, which is really freaking cool. Whoa, lots of destruction. And then he comes with an alternate head for standing up straight, which is also cool. And I love the detailing on him. The detailing is so well done. I'm not as big of a fan of this Rodin design as I am the 56 Rodin, but this figure shows me some new aspects to the suit I didn't notice were there before. So that's pretty awesome. And then, so we've got the Revoltech 656 Rodin, which actually kind of scales nicely. He's just a little bit shorter, I believe, which is cool. So now, actually, the one thing I was like, oh cool, I can have them both on the shelf together, because technically there were 2 Rodins in the original film. So this could be the one that died at the end of the movie in the fire, and this is the one that survived to go on to Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, Invasion of Astro Monster, Destroy All Monsters. Now, you can't obviously do that, but it's still cool, and just for comparison's sake, here is the vinyl of the 56 version. I like this way better, actually. I don't like the gold colors, and I don't like that back on this one. This looks like they just wanted to be stylistic with the Rodin vinyl, rather than make a monster figure from the movie. This is a monster figure from the movie. Put him down, switch his head back. I will set him in the stand. Alright, in Giraffe. My other paint defect is his fang is either missing paint or a little bit chipped. I'm not sure which. I don't think it's going to focus. I think it's too close. So I don't think you'll be able to see it. But he is pretty damn awesome. And now for him, he only had an alternate head that has a roaring pose. And yeah, that is pretty cool. It's interesting because you can get, basically both pieces are two different expressions. So it looks like two different figures depending on which head you're using, and I really like that. I liked it a lot. I actually think I prefer the closed mouth on this one, although the open mouth is pretty awesome still. It's nice to have an Giraffe in my collection. And then we have Godzilla, who comes with a breath effect. Now, I will say, I think his mouth is a little bit wonky. It just looks kind of weird to me. But I'm okay with it. It's better than this one. This one is kind of weird looking. Like they have whites in the center of its eyes compared to this. And it seems to be kind of thinner on the sides compared to how it should be. And down. Spines. Now for him, besides the breath accessory, he's got alternate arms and an alternate head to use. I actually like in Giraffe, I prefer the closed mouth head here, or slightly open head. I think that is pretty cool looking. I think they really nailed the sculpt work on the suit with the closed head, closed mouth. I mean, this is cool. I like this one, especially because he can blow fire. But again, the teeth actually look more like the 84 suit to me. And just like with Mina, you can always swap hands out to get various expressions. Which is kind of awesome. Let me go back. Let's see. No, I'm going to display him still with the fire effect for the moment. Although I really do like that head. And finally, the whole reason I mentioned I got interested in the set. Ooh. Be careful of the wings. I'm kind of worried the wings are going to be easy to break. But the whole reason I got into this set, King Ghidorah. I love the lightning effects. Let's take those out for the moment. And unlike him, the wings actually don't flop downward. So that's a positive. As I said, I really liked these back then when they were first coming out, when I first got into the line. But as time went on, I started to loathe them. Wing issues. I mean, yeah, it kind of sucks you can't bend the necks around like this, but at the same time, these often did that. I'm probably going to be selling off my Monster Arts Ghidorah now that I have a Showa version, because that's what I wanted. Articulation, he's got legs, his legs are movable, and the heads turn. You can't turn these two heads too far because the spikes hit the central head, but it's still cool. And you could also do like have them like that. Let's see. Which is still pretty awesome. I love that because it makes me think of one of the movie posters. I think had Ghidorah like that. Or you can keep it with them separated like that, or you can even I think no matter what pose you put Ghidorah in, he looks freaking awesome. He really does. I love the sculpt work on this Ghidorah. I love the sculpt work on all of these guys. I will... And then, I don't know if you saw it earlier, but you just plug the gravity beams into the mouths. Just like that. Let's do actually. Oops, I probably should have done that after. Don't cross the streams, man. Actually, let's do this. For the moment, I'm going to do it that way. I'm going to display him like that. That looks pretty awesome. But he is the whole reason I bought this set, and I have to say, I think it was well worth it. Oh, dang it! I forgot to show you with the Godzilla. The other nice thing is the Revoltech Mothra scales pretty well with him. It's pretty cool. So you have like okay. But yeah, so the Revoltech Mothra scales pretty well. I am looking forward to seeing what else Mezco does with the Showa era. I'm all in. If they do more Showa era figures like this, I'm totally in. I know there's a Hedorah set coming out with Godzilla vs. Hedorah, which is this Godzilla figure with a messed up eye to match the movie. I figured they probably decided not to throw in a regular looking Godzilla head because you've already got two. I'm gonna guess that you can that the colors will match, so you can intermix the pieces. So I'm all in for these Mezco figures. I'm looking forward to seeing what else they do with the Showa era. I guess there is a Mothra 64 coming out that comes with the two Shibojin. I gotta figure out how to get that. I heard the Mothra is flocked. I'm not sure how I feel about that aspect because flocking is kind of weird. I had the flocking for Mossman from He-Man, and it seemed like it would just fall off at times and shed. So I'm not sure how I feel about it on Mothra. I think it's a neat idea, especially for a furry creature as Mothra. I need to get that. I do hope, or it might be a Mothra 61. I'm not sure which one. But I do hope that regardless, they do a Godzilla 64 in this style. Because Godzilla, damn, would that be freaking awesome to have a Godzilla 64 in this style. And I would love to see like a Mecha Godzilla set. Have Godzilla. I'm not sure if they're going to do movie specific going forward, or if they would do like a Mecha Godzilla 4-pack that would have Godzilla, Mecha Godzilla, who could have interchangeable arms with the Mecha Godzilla logos changed on them to match 1 or 2, Titanosaurus and King Caesar. If they want to do just a Godzilla, King Caesar, Mecha Godzilla 1 and a Godzilla, King Titanosaurus, Mecha Godzilla 2 as 2 separate packs, I'm okay with that. I would buy them. I'm all in for the Showa line. If they're going to do Showa, I want everything in this style. They're the only company that is showing any Showa love. Show us some love. So I am excited. I can't do the Kamehameha with Godzilla. It sucks, but that's okay. I'm excited to see what more they can do, and on the positive side, I can fit way more of them on my shelf than I can of these guys. So there is that too. They don't take up as much. Granted, you could say the same thing about G.I. Joe, but I love my 6-inch G.I. Joes, and I am never going back to 4-inch G.I. Joes. Nope. So yeah, these were the Godzilla 5 points of articulation. If you've made it this far without being bored out of your mind and without quitting the video, congratulations. Have you bought these sets yet? If so, what do you think of them? I will say, I know some people said they're not worth the price. I don't think these sets, I think the perfect price for these sets would have been $50 to $60. I don't necessarily know if this was exactly worth $20 alone. Now, well, Ghidorah was worth $20 alone, but the other ones, I don't know if I'd say, like Mina and Mothra, I don't think those are valued at $20 each. Mina especially, which is probably better at like $5. But as a whole, I am pretty impressed. I really love the sculpt work. I love the detailing. I cannot believe what they got out of a 4-inch figure. I am very impressed. I want to see more of these. I would love to see more, because I know the Hedorah set comes with a few buildings. I would love to see Mezco just release like maybe a Godzilla 54 that comes with all manner, like an entire cityscape. And not cardboard buildings. I mean actual plastic buildings. That would be freaking cool. To have 54 Godzilla come with like maybe the clock tower. Hopefully the Capitol. That's what I want to see from Mezco. If they do a Godzilla 54, since it's just him on his own, and obviously some tanks, military tanks would be cool. Maybe they could do some, rays. I can't think of the vehicles anymore with the heat rays on them. I can't. But that would be cool too. Get some more vehicles. Then maybe when they've depleted the Showa era, and then I'm like, man, I feel like I've gotten everything you can get from the Showa era, and they start going to Millennium, then maybe I would dive into Millennium. I would be curious of how they were to do a Biollante. Not sure if I would buy the Biollante sets. I don't know if I really want more Heisei stuff. But Showa, totally. And when they're done with Showa, I wouldn't mind to see them tackle GMK and the 2 Kyoto movies. And who knows, maybe they'll tackle some others, such as War of the Gargantuas. Maybe they could package a Frankenstein and Frankenstein, Sanda, and Gaira together. Maybe one idea I had, so Gigan. Let's say if they don't go movie specific, they could do Megalon, Gigan, Jet Jaguar, and a 73 Godzilla. If they were sticking to movie specific, so they did like a set for every movie, the Godzilla versus Gigan. They could do another Godzilla, maybe with another head or something. Gigan and Giraffe, maybe with some additional expressions. Maybe have, even as a joke, one that has an Angira's head that has a hand attached to it, to the horn, to throw into Gigan's blade. And for Ghidorah, it would be cool if they actually did a flying version of Ghidorah, with a flying stand, having the heads like upwards and the legs out so that he's in a flying pose. Kind of like Rodin here, but obviously that not interchangeable with Ghidorah. That would be actually pretty cool to see though, as well, because then you can have a flying Ghidorah on display. There's all sorts of things they can do with this line, and I'm excited. This is like the most excited I've been for a Godzilla line in a while. Like, I haven't been excited for a Godzilla product since the '64 Godzilla came out from Nika. And even then, I was slightly disappointed with some aspects with that figure. Even though I love it, I will praise it. There are tiny aspects that I'm kind of like, eh. But right now, I think this is going to be my go-to Godzilla line for the time being. Now, if somebody decides to do fully posable 6-inch Showa figures for not Godzilla, not just Godzilla, I'll be there. Especially if they do the Ghidorah. Like, if you do a Ghidorah in the first wave, I will probably buy it. Or if they do a '64 Mothra, I will probably buy it. But for the meantime, I'm going with these guys. I'm sold. And I can't wait to see more. In fact, it sucks that I have to wait until like November for the Hedorah set to come out. I have to figure out how to get the Mothra set. But anyway, I probably already said this, but have you guys bought these sets? If so, what do you think of them? Click like, subscribe, the bell notification, whatever else YouTube has you clicking on to support me. You can support me on Patreon, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Discord at Kaiju no Kami, my website, creativitybydesignllc.com, and the Kaiju no Kami store to get some cool Kaiju no Kami merchandise, creativitybydesignllc.com/shop. Until next time, bye.